We're going to see how to calculate the invoice price of a treasury bond and exactly what that means. For our purposes now, treasury bonds and treasury bills are going to be interchangeable. I'm sorry. Treasury bonds and treasury notes are going to be interchangeable. Treasury bills are different. Treasury bonds, treasury notes, will probably just say bonds generically. Some other terms that you should be aware of from your notes that are technically different, but we're going to use them interchangeable, is the terms yield to maturity and bond equivalent yield. While they're actually a little bit different, they're virtually the same. A yield to maturity is when we have semi-annual coupon payments. A bond equivalent yield is taking something that isn't semi-annual coupon payments and converting it to semi-annual coupon payments. But again, for our purposes, consider them to be the same thing. Bond equivalent yield means the same thing as yield to maturity. And treasury notes and treasury bonds will kind of use those terms interchangeably as well. So if you're following along with your notes, you want to be taking a look at invoice prices and T-bill quotes in the notes. And we're going to refer to those notes. But first of all, we're going to bring up the whiteboard so that I can share some things with you on it. Okay, so let's take an example of a 8% 5-year treasury note that is due May 15th of 2002, has a yield to maturity of 7%. The price is 101.496. So here is going to be this particular treasury. And it really doesn't matter if it's a treasury bond or a treasury note. Here is the date of 5/15 of 2000. Okay, here is the date of 10/6 of 2000. Here is the date of 11/15 of 2000, and this is in the past, I assure you. Okay, but yeah, the years don't really matter that much for us, and this is when it matures. Okay, and that's going to be 5/15 of 2002. Okay, so we're going to say that today is October the 6th of 2000, and we're going to say that we want to buy this particular bond. Now, this particular bond makes its coupon payments every 6 months, like they all do, and the last time it made a coupon payment was on May 15th of 2000, okay? The next time it's scheduled to make a coupon payment is November the 15th of 2000. So when we first started learning about bonds, we said, how do we come up with the price of a bond? We very conveniently priced a bond right on the day it was making a coupon payment. You had already received that coupon payment there, and it's that day or like the next day when we are selling the bond. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what happens when you are somewhere in between those two coupon payments. And the reason why we need to take a look at that is because whenever, well, let's think about it this way. When you go to a store and you see something that's priced, let's say for $50, and you go to the store and you pick it up and you take it to the front sales clerk, and they say that'll be $55 or $54 or something like that. You don't say, wait a second, why is there an extra $4 or an extra $5 attached to this? You just know that that's the sales price, that whenever you buy something, the price that is listed is one price, but the sales price always, excuse me, the sales tax, I'm sorry, the sales tax gets added onto it. So the price you're going to pay is going to be the price of that item plus its tax, right? And you don't think somebody's trying to mess with you or anything like that. Well, the same thing is true about bonds, not with regards to tax, but with regards to what's called accrued interest. See, if I buy this bond on October the 6th here, okay, I will own it on November 5th, assuming I don't sell it in between. I'll own it on November 15th. Now, I'm going to get the entire interest payment, all the coupon payment on November 15th. but that represents owning the bond for 6 months. But I didn't own the bond for 6 months. I owned it for a little bit over a month. Most of the time, it was owned by whoever I bought the bond from. See, from May 15th up until October the 6th, whoever I bought that bond from owned the bond, and they are entitled to a portion of this interest payment that comes on November 15th. Now, because I can't be trusted to just mail them that coupon payment, their portion of that coupon payment at this point in time. In fact, I may not even own the bond anymore. I may have sold it, but in there, they are going to receive their portion of that coupon payment when I buy the bond from them. And that's going to be called accrued interest. So how do we calculate accrued interest? Well, believe it or not, what we actually do is we have to count days. We want to know how many days are there in this 6-month period. And there's not the same number of days in every 6-month period because, July and August are right next to each other. They each have 31 days. December and January are right next to each other. They each have 31 days. February only has 28, except for leap year when it has 29. So 6 months from one time to another is not going to be the exact same number of days as from another time to another. But I can tell you this, every 6-month period will have either 181, 182, 183, or 184 days. So there's only 4 possibilities, 181, 182, 183, and 184. And we can get Excel to tell us how many days there are in any particular 6-month period, and we'll see that later on. So in this particular 6-month period, it's the max. There's 184 days in that 6-month period. Okay, you don't count both the start date and the end date, by the way. You count one or the other. Next thing we want to know is how many days are there from May 15th to the date I'm selling the bond, which is October the 6th. And there are 139 days there. So that's most of those days, most of the 184 days, 139 days. And then we can just do some subtraction if we want to realize that there are 45 days remaining, 45 days remaining until the next coupon payment. So the 139 plus the 45 is equal to 184. So what we need to do when we are calculating the invoice price of a bond, which is the price that I have to pay for this bond on the day I buy it on October 6th, the price that I'm going to be paying is first of all going to be what we call the clean price of the bond. That's going to be the price of the bond that was quoted to me. If I'm buying it from a bond dealer, the bond dealer quotes me a price, and I'll be buying it at the ask price, and I'll be paying that ask price. But then in addition to that, I have to pay accrued interest. The accrued interest is going to be the fraction of this next coupon payment that I owe based upon how much time has elapsed since the last coupon payment. So the amount of time since the last coupon payment is 139 days, and there are 184 days in the 6-month period. So the person I bought the bond from is due this fraction, 139 over 184, that fraction of the coupon payment. Well, in this particular bond, we're going to say that it is a bond with a coupon rate of 8%. So if it has a coupon rate of 8%, and we're going to just price it at, just to say that it has 100 as being the price. We'll do this all in percentages there. So, and that's very typical with bonds. So we're going to say the price of the bond is 100, and therefore each coupon payment is going to be half of 8%. It's going to be 4. So what I owe the bond dealer that I purchased this bond from is accrued interest of this fraction of that $4 payment. I'm going to be left then with 45 over 139 of the 4. In other words, the whole $4 is going to come to me, okay? But I will have prepaid, I will have already paid the bond dealer on the date that I bought the bond, this fraction of that $4 coupon payment there. So if the bond dealer quotes me a price on the bond, and let's say that the price that I'm quoted is going to be, is 101.496. So 101.496 is what we call the clean price. That's the price of the bond that is quoted to me. I will have to add on to that 139 over 184 times 4, which is equal to 3.022. So this is the clean price. I'll put a little C there for clean price. This is the accrued interest on the bond, AI, and then you add them together, and that will be what's called the invoice price of the bond. So the invoice price of the bond is going to be 104.518. So even though the bond dealer quoted me a price of 101.496, I'm not going to get upset when I see that I have to pay. When he quoted me 101.496, I have to pay 104.518 because I know I'm going to owe accrued interest. And the accrued interest, again, is how many days, okay, were there in this 6-month period that that have elapsed since the last coupon payment, multiplied by the amount of that next coupon payment. So in other words, if we just assume for a second that that bond dealer held the bond for the entire 139 days, this is the portion of that $4 that he's entitled to. He's entitled to 139, 1/84 of that because that's what he had. What I'm entitled to is 45 over 184, that fraction of the $4 coupon payment. So that's how we calculate the invoice price of a bond. It's going to be the clean price plus the accrued interest on the bond. What we're going to do now is we're going to see how do we actually calculate this in Excel. I'm sorry, we're not going to see that now, but we are going to see that later.